Hello and welcome back to NATO Plays Minecraft. Here we are standing on top of the farming ziggurat. I have done a test run of it once and collected everything and it works alright. However, I have a problem with it, which is I don't like it. I actually really don't like this structure. I don't feel like it's my best work. Hello cows. And I just generally don't think that it's good enough. It's nice enough. There's not enough variance between the types of wood, the colours and the shapes, and it doesn't really fit the other style that we're going with. So this is going to change. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I will let you guys know once I've had a think about it. It's good enough for now, it works. It's not a bad structure, and it's not a bad mechanism. I'm quite happy with how it works, and in a way I'm happy with how it looks. The materials are what I'm kind of more concerned about, and also the style that it just doesn't fit with this fantasy style that we're going with. What I'll probably do is get rid of the sort of ziggurat shape, and possibly have these plots here moved back against the front two basically make it linear opposed to a cross shape, so that you have a plot and then a plot, and then on the other side you have two plots. Yeah, so that's one of the problems. One of the things that's concerning me. Other things I've done off camera is I put in this road. I've also made a few changes to the road over here, putting in these blocks of cobblestone amongst the gravel, mainly because it just gives a little bit more variance, a little bit more detail. It's really subtle. You can't see it wonderfully well, but that's kind of good because it just adds a bit more texture to it. So we also have 35 levels here. We're cooking up some more stone. So we have 35 levels, which I'm going to use to repair this diamond pick with this diamond pick, and get an even better pick. Unfortunately, I need 38 levels to do so, which hopefully I will have soon. I'm also going to rename that pick when I repair it, and I'm probably going to give it the name Hathor, which is the ancient Egyptian goddess of love, beauty, motherhood, foreign lands, mining and music, as Wikipedia tells me. I like the name, and it's a god of mining, so I think it fits quite well. There's an ancient Greek god of mining and generally industry, but I can't pronounce the name very well. It's Hephaestus, I believe. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. But yes, that is also the name I used for one of my mining ships in EVE Online, which I have started playing recently. I'm not going to do any videos of it, basically because I don't think MMOs, especially when you're starting out, make good videos. As for just channel updates at the moment, I am going to continue as I am. I upped my release schedule recently, as you may have noticed, to a video every 2 days, opposed to every 3 days, I think it was. So there's only sort of 4 days between a video of each series. 5 days, I think, actually. Yeah, because I alternate between XCOM and Minecraft. Anyway, we're over at the Moon Palace, and we have our little bridge here, just a bridge of dirt. I've started carving out the stairs up. However, I came to the conclusion that I need to plan out the town a bit more before I kind of continue. I know I want this stairs up to this plane. The exact level that these stairs stop, I'm not sure on. It kind of depends on how we connect it back to where the town centre is going to be, which is over in this direction. It's going to be basically the other side of that mountainside. So yeah, down there where that water is. It has changed a bit since I was last here. I spent some time off camera flattening out that area, just because it's a bit boring to record. It took me quite a while because there was a big lump of rock here which I took out. So the current plan, which could change, is to have a big floating platform that is suspended over this lake, and is approximately, and I say approximately at this level. So that would be around 80. Now I want this thing to be quite big. If you look at the natural terrain, there is a curve of this mountain here and the mountain over there, which is kind of at right angles to it. And there is a kind of a natural curve, a natural right angle there, which I kind of want to keep and possibly accentuate a bit more by having this curved surface there. But the problem is, basically, I need to mark a center point for that curve and work out where it's going to come to on the other side, because the center point of the curve based on these two walls is going to be roughly where where this lake ends, where that sand is, where my cursor is pointed at the moment. It would also be quite big. I haven't measured it out so much. I had to think about how big I wanted it to be, and the design I wanted to use, and the shape that would imply, and I came to one that is about 62 blocks wide. It's a radius of 31, including an extra block to connect it back. It's quite an intricate design, and it's really using the concepts of the moon, the phases of the moon, and circles. And I'm also planning to put in space for a beacon when I finally get round to killing the weather, which may be some time, as well as the Ender Dragon. So I'm not going to plan. I'm going to plan to fit in the space. I also need to get all the iron and stuff to actually build the structure. It's not going to be. It's mostly for looks. Om nom 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 nom. It's going to mostly be for looks, the beacon, rather than for the abilities. So I'm not going to panic too much about what materials I use and whether or not I can get it to give me all the different things. So it might just be 9 blocks for the basic beacon pyramid. So we have a problem, which is essentially if we're going to have our base level be around 80, have our ground floor, as it were, around 80, that's kind of cool. We have the problem that our sort of connection to the rest of the connection back to the other island and up here is all the way up here at about 105, let's say 100, because if I take it down, yeah. So we got about 30 blocks to drop down. It's getting dark. We've got about 30 blocks to drop down, and kind of ancillary little staircases here and there. If we go to 100, which is a skeleton, I thought I might get attacked soon, so that's why I was kind of not really talking quite comfortably. But yeah, if we take it down to 100, there's lots of little ups and downs and bumps in this terrain, which will probably be replaced when we have some sort of building on them. We've also got this lump here, which is not going to be that much of a problem. So, a hole in the ground. So we have a couple of things to tweak and modify and work out. I am going to go and sleep, and when I come back I'm going to mark out the radius for the town centre, just so we can have an idea of how big that's going to be and if it makes sense and if it works. So I will be back soon. Okay, it's actually a day or two later since I recorded the first half of this video, and I tried the first iteration, which was 62 blocks, as I said before, and it was just way too big. It ended up coming out to, when it was up against this wall, it came out to all the way over there, like halfway up that hill, over past that tree. It was just way too big. So I redesigned it, and I've given it a base of 40 blocks now. So this block over to that torch over there in the distance is 40 blocks. And this fits quite nicely. You've got a little bit of a gap here, but that's not a problem. And a little bit of a gap over there. If you can hear the sounds of scrabbling claws, it's because my cat is currently going crazy for no apparent reason, other than she's a cat. Okay, so we have here the first layout, and I'm quite happy with it. I think I'm going to work off that. It's nice to be able to one-shot things. Over the weekend, I played a complete the monument map with some friends, and it was quite annoying, quite irritating to find, going from killing mobs in this to fighting mobs in a map without proper armor and proper tools and proper weapons, because I just died repeatedly, and it was enjoyable. It was frustrating though. Right, so with this outlined here, I will just put up on the screen. So yeah, you should now be seeing a copy of the Excel document that I have put together to display how I want this to look. As you can see, it has kind of the phases of the moon, and it has a nice big central section. The areas that are blue are going to be glass, and the various different greys are going to be various different depths of stone, whether that's stone brick or smooth stone, or whether it's going to be slabs or whatever, I'm not sure. But that's the rough shape and design. So I'm going to go grab some materials from the house, and I will return soon. Okay, so we're back at the site, and one of the things that I haven't really put in the plan I was showing earlier is any lighting. So that's going to be an interesting problem. I'm probably actually going to end up making the majority of it out of slabs, partly to discourage mob spawning. I don't know if double slabs count as blocks now, or if it has to be a single slab. But well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Also, something else I missed was that this central point here, where we're standing now, is going to have a beacon in it. It's going to have a beacon in it when I have one, and it's not going to be a super-powered beacon. I really just want the imagery of the central spire going up into the sky, so I'm not going to bother absolutely hammering the iron to get a full beacon there. It also means that I don't have to have like an enormous triangular central spire, which I may have, I may not. I'll either have, I may do both, but I'll either have sort of banisters. Banisters is the wrong word. What am I thinking? Kind of curved sections here that hold up the not the corners but the edges there. Well, it's all big one edges, isn't it? Really, it's a circle. It has no corners. Not like beautiful cubes. Ooh. Sorry. Yeah, I haven't recorded for a couple of days, so I'm in a bit of a strange mood. So the first thing I'm going to do is beef up these central spokes down to 6 or 7, I think, from the centre. That map that I showed earlier, the plan, I used a program or a website called Plots. It's POLTZ, I think. Yeah, that's how you spell it. So that essentially just gives you a nice interface to start to set out curves and ellipses and circles and all sorts of anything curved. Basically, it also gives you the options of building some actual full buildings like lighthouses and observatories and things, but I find those are a bit too cookie cutter and generic, so I don't really use those. But being able to plan out a sphere or a cylinder or just a circle is really useful, so that's a nice website. So it's plots.com, I think, but if you Google plots, you'll find it. Or, you know, any search engine. Other search engines are available, but I use Google, as pretty much the whole world does. Unless you work for Microsoft, in which case I think it's mandatory to use Bing. I don't know. I'm not a Microsoft employee, as you may be able to tell. So yeah, I'm mostly just gonna lay out this as is in the original document. I may make a few changes to how it's to the height variation of it. I may also fall into the water. That's one of the problems I'm going to have with this section and possibly the entire build, is falling off things and falling to my death. I think I've died twice only so far from falling damage. I have no recollection of how many times I've actually died. I'm sure someone could probably tell me. See, that was just stupid. And this is why I will never do a Complete the Monument Let's Play, because I am horrendous at dying. I am just horrendous at this game in general. If it's not building something... When it comes to not dying, I am not the best. At most... Oh, come on! That's just taking the piss now. So yeah, I'm not good at not dying. But alas, that is just how it is, you know. Oop, there we go. Okay, so that's the wrong place. So yeah, this is all done in plots, and it's probably going to have more variation in the height than anything else. I'm going to try and add some more detail in the height variation, because really, when it comes down to it, you have one size of block, which is a block, which is a meter squared, and it can kind of suck if that's all you have. I mean, yeah, okay, you have slabs, but from a height perspective, to looking down on something, this is the kind of lowest level you can get. Which, as I said before, kind of frustrates me. I mean, you do get mods that have microblocks that give you all sorts of variations on full blocks. Unfortunately, yeah, they're mods, and I like mods. I have no problem with mods. At some point in the far-flung future, when I get bored of vanilla Minecraft, which probably will never happen, but if it did, then I might do a mod series. I in fact worked on a couple of mods. If anybody knows the Mine Factory Reloaded mod, I did all the textures for that, apart from the original conveyor texture, which the guy who maintains it, or the guy who used to maintain it, because now he's moved on to not hating himself for doing Minecraft mods, he wanted to keep the original conveyor texture because he felt, well, it's the one texture that survived so long, and it's not actually that bad. It's quite generic, it's quite simple, but yeah. So I made all those textures, including all the machines, all the liquids. If you don't know Mine Factory Reloaded, it's essentially it does what a lot of other mods do in some places, but it does them in a much more sensible manner and a much more connected manner. It's centered around sort of automatic farming, but it branched out into a few other different things like automatic enchanting and in some cases disenchanting and things like that. So it's essentially automation in general. It also has a really quite nice red net system, which is like it's a little bit like red power cables used to be like before red power disappeared, except instead of doing the networking a certain way, it does it in a better way, to do with the amount of packages it sends. And yeah, so it's a nice mod, and I worked on it, so I'm biased. But so yeah, I like mods, and I have no problem with them. But when I'm playing in like a vanilla server like this, having one mod just to do one thing is acceptable. If it's a small mod, something like inventory tweaks, which I keep meaning to install, which just gives you more options with managing your inventory. If you want to automatically sort things, if you want to, I think I've talked about it before, so I won't go into it again. But well, if I get around to installing it, I'll show it. I think I've already gone through it enough times though. But installing something like microblocks really changes like how much detail you put into your buildings and how much time you spend on them, and it kind of starts diluting the quite simple nature of Minecraft, which when you're adding all sorts of crazy mods that add, 30 different ores and extra machines to do this, that and the other, you're already completely ruining the vanilla experience. Well, I say ruining, you're completely changing the vanilla experience. So adding microblocks is sort of almost increases the variance, increases the difference than compared to vanilla Minecraft, and I think enhances the game by making you reconsider exactly how you build your structures. Which I can see why some people would find that annoying. Partly, I've heard people say that they feel forced to spend more time on their buildings than they otherwise would, and they find that irritating because they don't want to be spending 20-30 hours just on a small hut because microblocks make it so that you can bevel every corner and every edge and tidy everything up. No, go away. And yeah, I can understand that, I can see that, but as I said, I think the dilution kind of is in modding's favour. I mean, some of the new things, go away pig. Some of the new things that are being brought into Minecraft, like things like the light sensor way back. That was kind of, I don't think that was in any particular mods, but it started off in my mind like the type of mods that you do get that add a lot of almost automation and a lot more redstone style control. I mean, lots of them have have their own power systems. The two big ones being things like, oh, I can't remember the name. Well, there's Buildcraft and there's Industrial Craft. There's also Applied something or other. Can't remember the name. I'd have to go and look up. But there's various mods that have their own power systems. So you have to have generators to produce jewels or Minecraft jewels or energy credits or something like that. I'm going to pop back to the house and sleep. And you have to have generators to produce these, to produce this power in order to kill spiders and creepers. So, to run your machines, whether they are furnaces to more efficiently cook ore, or whether they're macerators to produce or to turn ore into dust, which is more efficient because you get 2 dust for every ore, or 4 if you're some mods. And you can also do things like go a bit crazy and have mods that add nuclear reactors to get even more power, and often those are a slave unto themselves. You spend so much time getting the reactor going that the power you get out is not always useful, because you could have spent that time and those resources making something that would provide you the same amount of power but with less effort, such as huge solar arrays. And you also have mods like Thorncraft. Thorncraft is all about magic and doing stuff with magic, and it adds lots of different mobs. No, it only adds a couple of mobs, but they're kind of respond to the environment more. So if you're doing lots of magic in a particular area and you're not being very careful with what you're doing, you'll get wisps, which are horrible things that zap you with electricity and do lots of damage and are annoying as all hell. But in general, they're pretty good mods. I've yet to find a mod like that where I look at it and just go, this is awful, with the exception of, and I'm probably gonna irritate anyone who does lots of modding, with the exception of GregTech, which is a Industrial Craft mod. It's a mod of a mod, which in of itself is a bit weird, but it modifies all of the recipes to be about 30 times harder to do. For example, if you want to... No, I don't want to brew. For example, if you want to build a... Go away. Interruptions. All the interruptions. If you want to build a solar panel in Industrial Craft, you normally just have a furnace and some batteries, and you turn it into a generator, and then you put glass on top, essentially. There are a couple more steps, but that's what you used to do, at least when I played mods in Industrial Craft. And in GregTech, you have to get like aluminium ore and extract. You have to extract silicon basically from something, probably from sand, and you have to turn that into like silicon globules, and then turn that into silicon plates, and then you have to build the generator, which takes like making sulfuric acid or something. I don't know. I haven't played it. I only played it briefly, but it added about 30 steps to everything, and increased the amount of power everything needed. And it wasn't a bad mod if you wanted to play like hard mode. But if you just wanted to mess around with some friends on a server and didn't want it to take like 30 years to do anything, then it was slightly less enjoyable. Okay, well, I'm probably approaching the end of this video. Because this is split up, I wasn't entirely sure how long I've been recording this episode. So this may be short, this may be long, I don't know. I'm having a bit of a difficulty building this because I have the map on my second image. I say map, the plan on my second image. And on my second image? What am I talking about? My second monitor. And I keep looking back and forth to double check that everything is lined up as it should be. I am a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to building, especially with anything that's symmetrical. And I know that one of the best ways of getting around worrying about symmetry is don't make things symmetrical. But I like symmetry. As I said it before, in projects like this, when you are doing something cylindrical like this, or doing something like the steps out there, where there's a clear line of symmetry and breaking that would just not make sense, then you better get your symmetry right, because it's going to look bad otherwise. Okay, well, I will just finish off this, or finish messing up this bit. Come on. There we go. There. Okay. So, I'm going to cover up that spot. Oh, there's one there. There's a side that's not been done yet. I noticed that recently Minecraft or Mojang have added Twitch streaming natively to Minecraft, and I'm just going to say now I don't plan on doing any streams, mostly because I like to edit things and I like to skip boring bits or things I think are boring and edit things back together, and I like to have my structured episodes. I'm still learning what to leave in and what to cut out, but I'm finding that process good, and with streaming you don't get that. So I won't be doing any streaming, at least not now. At some point in the future I may do some streaming of special things. But anyway, here we have our town centre, starting point, and yeah, this is coming along nicely. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. Please feel free to like and subscribe and comment, and especially if you have any opinions about how this is going, I'd like to hear back from people. But anyway, otherwise, thank you very much and goodbye.